In closing, I would re-emphasise the importance of this debate. I want to pick up on a few points. Patrick Harvie, I know Patrick Harvie thinks that he knows everything, but in terms of the Business Advisory Council, I mean, what we're actually saying here, and I think it is an important point, is we need to be able to bring together trade unions, businesses, SMEs, and actually the point that Graham Simpson made is to see where the gaps are and see where things are working. Because clearly, had we done that earlier, we would have picked up on the taxi drivers earlier. And so that's an important point. Another point that Graham Simpson made in terms of the local authorities, and I would re-emphasise it again, is we need to get the message out to the local authorities that these grants are being put in place to help people. And we really need to see the local authorities take a proactive role where that's not happening. James Kelly mentioned youth unemployment. The interesting statistic is that people aged between 16 and 24 years old currently make up 50% of the hospitality workforce in Scotland, and youth unemployment has risen from 6.1% to 14.5%. So that's really important, and if you link that to John Mason's point about do we let weaker businesses go to the wall, most of these hospitality businesses, remember, the reason they are in this difficulty is because of COVID and the restrictions. These are viable businesses, and if we can support them to get through this period, then we will be protecting those jobs for when they come out of it. And that's why this debate is important. It's not about Scotland versus England or the Constitution. It is about what needs to happen and the fact that we need to listen to people to be able to provide support. In terms of rates relief, I think particularly for SMEs, and the point has been made that there are SMEs and other businesses that fall through that gap. Yes, it was right that Tesco and others have handed back the money, and we would all urge, I'm sure, others to do so. But there are SMEs out there that they have to pay rates, and they are struggling. But I take Ben McPherson's point. You need budget certainty. And so the Finance Committee is right to say to the UK Government that we need budget certainty in order to give that certainty to businesses, but also give that certainty to local authorities, which is fair enough. We will not oppose the Government amendment today, because we do believe that it is about support for employees as well as support for employers, a point well made by Jamie Hepburn. And we need to look at how we get that support and ensure that the support is getting to where it needs to go to. But we would equally support the Conservative amendment, the Conservative motion, in terms of looking at where the rate relief needs to be given, look at where there's more support that needs to be given, and give that support. Picking up on some other points, James Kelly also picked up on that point about support for workers and the GMB campaign that is now running. We need to recognise that shop workers and other workers have been equally on the front line. And while it's right to reward, and we support the Government in terms of the rewards for frontline health and social care workers, lots of these other workers have had a very difficult 60 months on the front line. And we need to actually be saying to these businesses, it's a fair point that Patrick Harvie did make, we need to be saying to these businesses, we will support you, but we expect you to support your workforce who are on the front line, and we need them to be treated with respect. And the GMB campaign for public holidays, not just for ASDA workers, but for all workers, is something I hope we would also support. Thank you, Presiding Officer.